Sirens, Slammers, and Service, a podcast for female first responders by female first responders. My name is Nikki Clucci, and I will be your host. As a former correctional officer in Alberta for almost 2 decades and the founder of Blue Line Fitness Testing, which provides law enforcement fitness testing and first responder wellness workshops, I started this podcast as a way for female first responders to share the trials, tribulations, and triumphs of their daily work. I want to showcase the unique perspectives, skill sets, and personalities that women bring to a first responder career and share their stories. So get ready to laugh your ass off, learn a whole bunch, and be inspired by some pretty badass women. Let's go. Welcome back, guys. Oh my gosh. Today I am joined by an absolute firecracker. I already fucking love this chick, and I have not met her in person, but goddamn, I love her energy. I'm joined by Dallas Walker-Milan. Like, first of all, that name is just fucking rad. I love it. Dallas is a primary care paramedic and a firefighter in Lethbridge with Lethbridge Fire and Emergency Services. And she actually reached out to me because she is friends with Constable Allison Enkirk and Molly Murray from Lethbridge Police. Her and Molly do CrossFit together, and her and Allie are working on recruitment together. Also, both women that I absolutely love. And I get the opportunity to meet this weekend for the first time, which I'm super pumped about. We're meeting at our female first responder event, which I can't wait. It's going to be great. We're having a bunch of women get together to basically do recruiting at Blue Line and show, women out there all these different careers that they can be part of and all the different opportunities that they can partake in if they're so brave enough to just jump in the fray and go with it. And I think, Dallas, having talked to you before we started recording, just you were brave. You're super brave. You jumped right into not only one, but two first responder roles as a paramedic and a firefighter. So welcome. How are you today? And let's jump into your story.
Oh, thank you. I'm really good. I'm excited to be here, excited to talk to you and kind of share my side of things and fire and EMS side.
Yes.
It's different. It's fun. It's enjoyable.
Totally. And like, I really enjoy the fact that you're a dual role, because usually it's one or the other. Either you start as a paramedic and then you move into fire, or, you were doing emergency medical something in there and then move into fire, and you're doing both roles. And so tell me, like, again, how did you kind of come into this? How did this, manifest for you? Like, was it something that you thought about coming into it as like a kid? You were like, yes, see the fire truck go by, like, I want to be on that. Or was it something you just kind of fell into?
Yes. So I am maybe an anomaly, to be honest. I wouldn't say that I even enjoyed fire trucks as a kid. As odd as that is, I do remember, like, you go to the stations, you do your whole tour, they make it all exciting, everybody's friendly. And I was like, oh, that's cool. Like, whatever. So I actually finished high school. I went on to the University of Lethbridge. I got a degree in kinesiology. I started working as a massage therapist, like completely different levels. Wanted to help people, obviously. That was why I was in this. I liked the human body, all of that fun stuff, but never once thought that I would ever be fire or EMS for that matter. So as kind of a little backstory, I am a national athlete. It's called life-saving sport. So it's huge, massive in Australia and Europe, not so huge here in Canada. However, it's like competitive swimming, except instead of just kind of like swimming back and forth, you're racing to pick up a mannequin. So you're picking up mannequins, you're bringing them back as fast as you can. You're swimming under gates. There's poolside, there's surf side. So sometimes we're on the beach and we're out in the ocean, and it's very humanitarian. It's like, do you want to think of it as like lifeguard games? I guess, but like to a whole new level.
Yes.
You have to have tons of skill. You do have to be an amazing swimmer. And then you have to have the strength to pick up these mannequins and carry them back.
Are they different weights?
No. So they're all the same weight. Now, everybody always asks me how much they weigh. I don't actually know, to be completely honest. In general, the average human weight is what we go with.
Yeah.
So if you go to a pool and you see those like orange mannequins, then they've got like the white line across the chest. That's the ones that we use. So we fill them with water and put them on the bottom of the pool. So if you ever want to try it, that's what you do. You dive down, you try and pick it up, and you swim it back as fast as you can.
Without drowning
So
yourself while you're trying to hold this
without,
person alive.
yes, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And that's the hardest part because it comes down on you and it's like, oh boy, yeah, this is heavy. So yeah, they've got a brick in them and everything, so they don't look very heavy. But once you get them filled with water, they can be uncomfortably heavy depending on what training we're doing.
Oh my God, that's insane. That's
Yeah. So
insane. Were
yeah.
you just because so I was a lifeguard, so I've done some of these, not like nothing close to what you guys are doing. Like not like ours was like 15-meter approach, dive down, pick up the pick up the brick,
Yeah.
pick up the dummy,
Right.
like come back up, Pia carry back to the edge. Like I've done that, but not like you, not like you at all. But they recently just literally, because I still get the emails, they just had like, I don't know if it was Life Saving Sport, but it was out in Newfoundland, like just like I want to say like a month ago, 2 months ago or something. There was like the nationals in Newfoundland. Is that the same thing or was it different?
So we just had nationals in Vancouver.
Oh,
The
okay.
first weekend of June was nationals in Vancouver. And that
Okay.
was our pool nationals. And then we're going to be having our surf nationals in Nova Scotia in August.
I love that you live in Lethbridge.
I'm
This is
right.
your
Yeah.
sport. I live in the desert plains of Alberta, but I'm going to do this swimming sport, which requires sometimes the ocean.
Right. So like I wouldn't say that that is my best side of this sport.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so cool though. So like national athletes. So like you're representing for Canada at these games
Mhm.
when they're going in on like so is there like internationals? Like if you have to
Yes.
qualify at nationals and then go to internationals? Oh my gosh, so cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So I've been to 4 world championships and then other international competitions. So like Commonwealths and there's like called Orange Cup or German Cup. And so it's like their nationals, but Team Canada is invited. So altogether, I've actually just been named to another team. So we're looking at 12 tours at the moment. So
Oh,
it's pretty cool. Yeah. So it's been, I think I like really dove into it not till I was like 21.
really?
So yeah, I was a competitive swimmer growing up, but
Okay.
like let it go when I was in university, you know how
Mhm.
that
Yep.
fun stuff goes. You
Yeah.
let everything go, you don't worry about your body too much. And then yeah, come like 21, I believe. The coach for the team in Lethbridge just needed another girl for nationals. Oh, you can swim. You want to hop in? And I'm like, oh, sure, why not? Off I go, get named to the development national team, and the rest is history. I was like, I was hooked. This was so much fun. It was a great team atmosphere. I got to keep doing things that I love, and like you can see the improvement,
Mhm.
especially at that age, like from 21 to like I'm now 34. So there's been huge development and it's cool because everybody says, you know, oh, once you're 20, like you're past your prime. That's not really the case. You're like, you can really push the limits the older you get and the more you understand your body. And then
Yes.
there's the mental side, right? Where you're
Yep.
like, you're not a teenager anymore. You can deal with these things. You can figure out the hormones. So
Mhm.
yeah. So it's like, I just keep doing it. It's a lot of fun.
That
So
is so cool. Like it's just such a like a neat like not mainstream sport to even like think about. And it reminds me of like Allie because Allie did like this really
mhm.
specialized riding. And then
Yeah.
it's funny because I saw it on the TV the other day and I was like, oh, this is what she was doing. This is the riding. Like, oh, and I sat there for like a good 10 minutes just watching and being like, this takes a lot of skill. This is very technical. This takes a lot of like, because it is, people get like sports, soccer, football, hockey, lacrosse, rugby, like, okay, these are baseball, like these basketball, these are all sports, right? But like, there's a lot more out there that people don't really even know about that are like
Mhm.
insane for technical skills or athletic ability. Like, again, swimming is a huge one. Like, I went back, I tried to do my swim test. I was like, I could still do this. I'm 44. So I believe me, I feel you on the like age. I was like, I could totally still do this. I have not swam like to swim in like 20 years. Like I
Mhm.
did not. I was like, I don't have to do this anymore. I'm not doing this anymore. I swam like 3 laps. I thought I was gonna have a fucking heart attack. I was like, what kind of birth? Like it's so much fucking harder if you don't do it and you're not like a swimmer. I was like, I'm dying. Like, can I backstroke this? Like, I am backstroking because I can breathe. It's terrible. I was like, I'm done. I will not be pursuing this. This is too hard.
Right? But there's like, I always call it like your swim fit and your like athletic fit.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't coincide. And that's the problem. Like I have a coach, I have a programmer, I have everything because I do the two sports, right? I do CrossFit and I do life-saving sport. And my coach just the other day was like, you realize like your swimming is not helping your CrossFit, but your CrossFit is helping your swimming. And
Yeah.
and so it's like there's a correlation, but it's only one way. It's not bi-directional.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you just have to take it for what it's worth. But yeah, you dive in that pool and suddenly you're the most like unathletic, unfit human ever. And you could have just like gone and ran a marathon in like record speed. But yeah, you dive in that pool, it's a different ballgame. It is.
It totally is. It totally is. I have mad respect for swimmers. So when you're doing this sport, like when you get the mannequin back, are you then having to do like first aid and like life-saving measures on it? Or is it just the rescue? Like what they're testing you on is like the speed to get in, get the person, get them back. Obviously, like, probably like marking you on certain things like, is your head above the water? Are you drowning while you bring this person back, etc.?
Yeah, so it's there's two kind of sides to it, I guess. So the one side is just racing. So you line up like you're a competitive swimmer, you're on the blocks and you dive in and you're just getting to the mannequin, grabbing him and carrying him back as fast as you can. So it doesn't really matter how you carry him back. We're on our front, we're doing single arm freestyle and we're just like holding the mannequin and we're trucking. We got our arm going, we got our legs going, we're doing this as fast as we can. And then some events have fins and stuff like that. So a lot of times we're under the water for the entire like 50 meters. And then we grab the mannequin and then we can come up, breathe, take them back. So there's that aspect. And then we have what's called CIRC. And that's simulated emergency response competition. You're in a group of 4. And you come out of the change room to a scenario. So, and there can be like 5 to 10 patients or drowning or whatever they are out in the pool. And so between the 4 of you, you have to go rescue as many as you can. And then once they're on the pool deck, you start doing your first aid, your CPR, whatever needs to be done, but you only have 2 minutes. So yeah, it's extremely fast. You have to be very good at communicating to your team members and telling them like, hey, I'm diving down. There's a victim at the bottom. I need to grab him and bring him back so that they can be ready to start treatment right away. And we have to obviously do the triage side of things, right? So we treat the alive before we're going to treat the ones who technically aren't, and kind of go from there. And so there's judges for every single victim. And so they have a sheet that says like what they expect from us. And then there's like a broad judge that just judges like all our communication, all our like
teamwork,
how we come up to a victim, if we're going the feet first, if we give them a flotation device, if we're talking to them, all of that stuff. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. Yeah, our team we went to Commonwealths in September and we got second, me and my team.
Nice.
So that was super exciting. I've never actually won a medal in that. So
wicked.
Yeah. So that was exciting. So funny, like I'm the only one in emergency services on that team, but they were all quite young. So I was like, well, now's your time, nudging them. Like,
yeah, totally.
You're obviously good at this, so let's do it.
Was your team from Lethbridge, or like is your team made up of like people from across Canada?
From across Canada. So there's one girl on my team from Lethbridge as well. One girl actually from Edmonton, and then another girl from Ontario.
Cool.
So yeah, Alberta's looking pretty strong.
I was gonna say, and is it like female teams versus male teams, or female versus female, or is it co-ed, or like just whoever's on the team is on the team?
Yeah. So for that one, for Cirque, it's just co-ed.
Hmm.
So it's you can make your team how you want it. Our coach was like, "Go girls. You got this." We practiced like copious amounts of hours the week leading up to it, and it worked out. And I think we might have been the only all-girl team. A lot of
Nice.
them will have a lot of them will have the guys because they're faster swimmers, right? So they
Hmm.
can get out to the victims that are way out there and get them back sooner. That's not
Hmm.
always the best because if
Hmm.
you can get out there and you can treat them while you're out there, or you can talk to them, or you can do what you need to do, then that's
Hmm.
maybe better than just grabbing and going.
Yeah,
So yeah, so it worked out. It was pretty awesome.
that is very cool. Very cool. And so is that what kind of led you into emergency services? Like it was like, yes, I like doing this and I like saving lives. And so therefore, how can I
Yeah,
transition this into getting paid?
yeah, yeah, in a way. So I had a very, very good friend, and he was on the volunteer department in Fort McLeod, and that's where I live. So it's like half an hour away from Lethbridge, so it's super close. But he was like, "Hey, we have openings on this volunteer department. I think you would be really good at this. Like, you've got the whole like life-saving first aid thing. Like come and join us." So I kind of did the whole, sure. Like, what's the worst that's going to happen, right? Like,
Yep.
that sounds cool. So I put an application in. I got the phone call, like, hey, we'd love to have you. And yeah, that's how it all started, to be honest. Before I knew it, so I was doing that for a little bit. And then, funny enough, like, COVID hit. And being a massage therapist, I didn't have a job anymore.
Mhm.
And so I was just like attending every single fire call that I possibly could.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, I'm a growth person. So I said, okay, well, I can still take courses. I can still do my EMR, and then I can still do my primary care paramedic.
Hmm.
So that's what I did. I kind of segued into that. And part of it was I'm going to segue into that, but I'm going to apply for mostly fire because that's what I
Hmm.
was comfortable with. And that
Yeah.
was, I like to say I'm good at it. I've put a lot of education into it. And then did my primary care paramedic, did my practicum. So you have to do a practicum of 4 to 6 tours. So a tour is considered 2 days, 2 nights. So 4 to 6 tours on a bus, just your practicum hours. So as a student, and then you can graduate. You have to go write a provincial exam, and then you're like out into the world as a primary care paramedic. So I did my practicum in Lethbridge, and at first it was like, like, I don't know about this. Like, still love fire, still think that that's what I want to do. By the time I was done my practicum in Lethbridge, I was hooked. I was like, you know what? A dual service is the way to go.
Hmm.
Uh, Dual meaning we do fire and EMS. If we're on the ambulance, we're carrying our fire gear with us. If a fire comes in, we're used as an extra unit. And
Okay.
we kind of buddy up with our pumps, and we can go in for extra personnel. And then vice versa, our pumps, like our engines, are ALS. So there always is an advanced care paramedic on there,
Hmm.
and usually another either primary care paramedic or advanced care paramedic.
Hmm.
So you can kind of wear both hats regardless of where you're seated.
Hmm.
And that makes it exciting, right? You don't feel like you're doing the same thing every day.
Hmm.
You have all that extra backup. And for the most part, I think people really enjoy that.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Hey guys, wanted to pop on here before we got into this next episode and let you know about a couple new rad ideas that we have for the podcast. So, the first one is we have a survey up, and I would love to know what you guys think about the show. I'd love your feedback. I'd love your ideas for the next season. And I just love to know what you like and what you dislike about the podcast. And I'm going to sweeten the deal with a $50 gift card randomly drawn from everybody that completes the survey. The survey is going to be in the show notes of all of our shows. So no matter what time you start listening to the podcast at, you'll get a chance to win that gift certificate. The second thing that we're bringing in now is the ability for you guys to leave us a voicemail. You guys can actually call into the show, leave us a voicemail, let us know what you think about the show. If you have a funny story you'd like to share from your time as a first responder, I would love those and showcase those on the show as well. So make sure you guys check out that voicemail feature. It's going to be in the show notes, and check out the survey. Make sure that you get that chance to win that gift certificate. Yeah, to me, I think that would be like it's a good marry up of both skill sets, right? Because like a lot of fire is medical calls. Like, I mean, especially in Edmonton, right? Like there ain't a lot of fires that are happening up here. I mean, I say that like as if I fucking know, but like what I see on the news, there's not a lot of big fires, right? But like there's a fuckload of medical calls. There's a lot of medical calls. And so I've even talked to firefighters where they're like, yeah, all we do is medical calls. And like, I signed up to fight fires, not to do medical calls. And so I think to be able to have that, like, your primary care paramedic today, and then you're still jumping in when there's fire, you're still doing that side of things. Like that's a really good marry up. So how did you get your fire courses? Like, did you do it through like the volunteer department? Like your N1000s? I should know this. 10,000s?
Yeah. So our 1001s.
1001s.
And then, all our other courses. So for me, because I was a volunteer, you can do your courses through the community there. And so we run courses for our MD. So it's like essentially from Nanton to Fort Macleod. We're an MD and we all get together and we can run our courses. So I was fortunate that I just jumped in and started doing that, because the more I know, the more confident I am. And it needed to happen after like the first year of being a volunteer. So I just went and did that. If you wanted to get on with Lethbridge, you don't actually need that fire training because we give it to you.
Okay.
So lots of fire service actually now will do that, where you don't actually need it. I think it's a benefit. I think you should. If you can get on with a volunteer, do it. That's your best segue for me anyways. So so I got them through that. That's where I'm getting most of my courses through, because it's just a little bit easier to do that through the MD on kind of like my off time and stuff, and not have to juggle work and everything along with that.
So you're still with the volunteer fire department, and then also with Lethbridge Fire Department, and also a primary care paramedic. Well done.
I mean, just
and crossfitting and swimming.
Yeah, right? Like I don't stop. So that's fun. But I think honestly, like as long as you're enjoying it, it's good. The minute that maybe you stop enjoying one of those aspects of your life, then maybe that's when you need to kind of take a step back and see what else life can bring you. Like you're not stuck in that point. And so I know that if the volunteer side gets a little much for me because I'm doing it as a career, then I can always drop that. So So when you were volunteer firefighting, then you applied for the paramedic position. Yes.
And then from that, then did you have to apply for the fire side of things as well? Or was it like, hey, you have this stuff and you can do these things, so like you're going to become this dual role now?
Yeah. So with Lethbridge, all of our hirings are paramedic firefighters.
Okay.
So you apply, you put in like everything that you have. So you put in your paramedic side and you put in any of your fire side that you have, because it both counts. So then when you're hired, you are obviously a paramedic of some sort. You're either primary or advanced. And then if you're not fire, then that's fine. We go through fire training. And even if you are fire, like I had the most certifications in my entire recruit class, and I still had to do all the things, do the whole, we had 13 weeks of recruit training, and 11 of those were fire. So they teach you everything you need to know about that, but you have to want to be able to do both. So it's definitely, for me, like I get a lot of people who are like, well, I don't really want to do fire. Maybe right now that could potentially not be an option, but there is always an option to be on the ambulance for as long as you want to be, but you still carry fire gear. So that's just something to be made aware of. Now, for I would say 90% of the population, that's positive. Like everybody loves the fire, right? Like cool, it's fun, it's exciting. And a lot of people look at kind of the medical side like not so much, but that can be cool and fun and exciting too.
Totally. I think it's funny because like usually you get those two different like you get two different people that are like, no, thank you. Fire, climbing in tiny spaces, heat, like no, I'm not, no, thank you. And then but oh my God, I love cardiac, I love like blood, gore, like I love all the medical things, right? Like so you get those, and then you get those people that are like, I don't want to do any of the medical crap. Like I just want to go, let me fight fires, let me climb buildings and sledgehammer things and axe things open, right? And so, but I love that it's like, and I didn't realize it was everybody in Lethbridge. I thought like maybe you were just in the specialized role, or like there was a team of you that were specialized like this. But I think that's really cool because there is that, you know, like you do get that chance. You get to do both and you get to experience both. And you might not fucking love fire, you might not love medical, but it's not your sole thing that you're doing. So you're always getting one of the other, which is awesome. So 13 weeks of training. And how many people were in your recruit class and how many women were in your recruit class?
So we had 12 in my recruit class and I was the only female. We are starting to get more females, so that's super exciting. Before, so I was the 5th female ever hired with Lethbridge.
Wow.
Since then we've have three more.
All right.
So we're at 8. Like it's good.
Pretty good.
Yeah. Like I'm excited about it. I think that the word is getting out about like how to train, how to eat, and the mental side of it all. So that's exciting. I also think that we're starting to get the word out that it is like you can be a female firefighter. Like, because the medical side, there's lots of females there.
Yeah.
Like that's, you know, I would say almost potentially more females than males on that side.
Yeah.
But you look at fire and it's like, oh, that's not for us. Like, you know, and not many of us were told as a young girl that like you can go be in this big red fire truck and you can go throw on the bunker gear and run into a burning house. It's like
because it's a fireman. There's a fireman.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Right? But and it's true, and it is what it is. Like I have no issues with that. I'm just excited that we see that there is a change there.
Yeah.
And I'm excited that we're seeing that girls are saying, oh, I can do this too. Like sweet. And I go, let's do the thing.
Yeah. So tell me what it's like. What is a day in the life of Dallas Walker-Milan? What are we doing when we come into work? And I think you've mentioned this before, but there are some like specialized units within your department or within like Lethbridge Fire and Emergency Services. And I saw one of them on the poster this weekend at our Female First Responder event. And TEMS, TEMS it was. So I want you to break that down for me because it looked fucking super cool. But first, what do you do? Tell me about your life day to day.
Okay, so my day, I go into work. Right now, I'm on the ambulance most of the time. So I hop on the ambulance, I relieve my crew. We chat about everything that happened the shift before. We joke around, we have a good time. We all love to chat with each other and catch up and kind of joke around about what happened. So we always start a shift with a laugh, which is perfect. We'll grab our fire stuff. I will put all my fire gear on the ambulance. So we have like a little cubby in the back corner there where we put our fire stuff just in case we get called to a fire. We actually just go, throw on our fire gear, and we get to work. So we'll do that, check the ambulance, make sure it's all good to go. Generally, I'll talk with my partner, we'll just chat about whatever's happening. We can go over to the fire truck. The guys will be checking that truck and doing some like engine startups or checking their BAs, any of that equipment stuff. And we can definitely hop in there and we can help them check that, get familiar with the truck. And then from there, it kind of depends on the day for sure. Sometimes we'll get a call right off the bat and then we're gone. Sometimes we're in the ambulance or at the hospital for the majority of the day. And sometimes we get time at the station where we get to train, which is pretty sweet. So our captain will generally have some training planned for our tour. And if we have time to get that done, we'll pull a fire truck out. We'll do some fun fire training. We'll get that all done. Throughout our shift, if time permits, we are allowed access to our gym. Every one of our stations has a gym, so we're able to work out on shift, obviously if time permits. And yeah, we'll have a good time. People will be in for meals, so people will make meals together. Last night actually we do station changes. So every certain amount of months we switch stations, which means that all our crews kind of get split up. And so we've had this awesome cohesive group at our station. And so last night we kind of just had one massive final dinner together, and it was a lot of fun. We thoroughly enjoyed it.
How many stations are there? Sorry, how many stations are there in Lethbridge?
There's 5.
5. Okay. And how many are on a crew? How many would be, do you call it a crew, a platoon, a troop? What do you guys call it?
Yeah, so we have our C platoon, which is we have about 40 members on our platoon. So we're all split up to different stations.
Okay.
It all depends on what station as to how many members are at the station. So our downtown station is obviously our busiest one. It's our headquarters. It has more apparatuses in there. So we're going to have more of our crew at that station. And then we're going to have if we have 2 station, which is on the west side, or 5 station, and they only have 1 truck and 1 ambulance to fill. So we have a smaller cohesive group. So my crew at my station, before I got moved, we had 3 people on the engine, and then we had 2 on the ambulance. So we only had 5. So if a fire came in and that truck needed to go, then one of us from the ambulance would actually just hop onto that fire truck. We would join that fire truck. Somebody would drive the ambulance to the fire and then hop out, put their gear on, and then join over to become fire. So
yeah.
And
how often do they do, you said a crew change or a station change where you are switching stations? Is it monthly, 6 months?
Yeah, it's every 3 months.
Okay.
You'll kind of switch. So you'll switch stations. It's kind of offset, but it works out to be every 6 months you switch stations, but you have a different partner every 3 months.
Okay.
You'll have a group that'll be switching their 6 months, but it's offset with the other group 6 months.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Well, because it leaves some continuity, right? You've still got, it's not like you're bringing an entire new crew in and then you need that continuity. Yeah. I like that. So this is your turn. Now you're changing, you're going to a different station.
Yeah. We just did a mass station change. So it's kind of out of the norm, but we've just kind of, seems like everybody is getting switched almost all at the same time. But then once that's done, then we'll start to go back into that smaller rotation.
Yeah. Interesting. That's really cool. I like that there is that combo too, because sometimes in Edmonton, you have just ambulance only stations where it's just the ambulances, right? So now you guys are getting both in the same, you learn from each other, you train with each other, you hang with each other. That's awesome. Very, very cool. And it's true. I ask the question, so what does a typical day look for you? And everybody's answer is we don't have a typical day. It's just whatever the fuck happens. Right. So yeah, it's good. Do you have a fire pole in your current station? I ask this one all the time too.
No, actually none of our halls have a fire pole.
Dang it.
Yeah, I know. It's a little sad. But most of us, we all hang out on the same floor. So we just have a main floor. And so our kitchen and our bathrooms and our change rooms and our gym and everything are typically all on the same floor as our apparatuses are. So we don't really need to be going up and down stairs or going up and down a fire pole. So yeah, it's just laid out that way. But
That's smart. Yeah, the fire pole is cool. Super cool.
Yeah. it's cool. The place that I worked at for Lethbridge, they had one.
Yeah.
And it was fun, but it was also like, it was no faster than me just like jogging down the stairs.
Yeah.
So it didn't make much of a difference. But
Yeah,
it
you're
was
like,
cool.
"Yeah."
So
Yeah. Yeah. The other question I have for you is, so if you like, so you're on ambulance right now. So if you go to a call and then you realize like, oh shit, like we need more hands than the two of us, is it like, is then fire trucks responding after, or is like, because in Edmonton, fire is faster usually than our ambulances because they are tied up at the hospital 98% of the time. So fire, like if you call for an ambulance, fire is coming faster than ambulances are like 95% of the time. So does fire respond with you to medical calls, or is it like you guys are going and then you're like, holy shit, come, we need more people, and then they respond?
yeah, so it depends on how it comes in from dispatch. So dispatch gets to rule the world in that aspect.
Mm-hmm.
So if it is considered like a high acuity call, we call them like delta or echoes. So they're higher up in like the oh shit level. Then a fire truck will come along with an ambulance.
Okay.
So one might get there sooner than the other, depends on where we're at in the city. Now, if we arrive at a call and fire was not attached to it because it was considered like a lower acuity call and we need them, we can go on our own dispatch because we have our own, Lethbridge has their own dispatch for fire and police. So we can use our fire radios. We can go on to that dispatch and we can request directly with our own dispatch to have our fire attached. And we can say whether we want them hot or cold, and they'll get in that truck and they're ready to help. Like they are all, everybody's medically trained. So it's awesome because they walk in and you just, okay, I need this from you, and it's done. Like, no questions asked, no worries. And it's great for our population of Lethbridge, honestly, like regardless. So you call 911, you're getting help within like 5 minutes.
Yes.
You might not get an ambulance in 5 minutes, but you're getting advanced care paramedics to your door with literally everything that they need other than an ambulance to transport at your door. So they can do everything that we would be doing other than get you to the hospital. So it's wonderful for the citizens of Lethbridge as well. And it's wonderful for us. Like we know that everybody's taking care of everyone and everybody is knowledgeable and ready to get down to work when the time comes to it.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think that's a key part of it too, is like that, like rolling up and just jumping right in. And like, that's the sign of a good team, is like people can just roll up, take a look and be like, okay, clock that, see that. Okay, I'm going to get that. I can see, oh shit, she needs this. Like that's a really good team. That's a really good team. Okay. And so now I want you to jump into these like specialized units for me. So how, like, what do you have down there? How does that work? What's the like process to maybe get onto one of those if somebody was interested in that? Like how does all that work?
Yeah, so on the medical side, we've just kind of started our TEMS unit, so our tactical EMS unit. And so they are, now I'm not part of the team and it's brand new, so take what I say with a grain of salt here. But as I know, they work with the police side and they've been doing a lot of training over on that side to work with them and learn the tactical side of it and all of that fun stuff. While using their medical expertise in any of these situations that may occur. As far as getting onto that team, you do need to be an advanced care paramedic. You had to have been with Lethbridge for, don't quote me on this, 2 years, I believe. And they had to do tryouts. And from the sounds of it, it was a brutal day of tryouts. So you got to be still very physically fit, very task oriented, because a lot of it sounded like they were super like physically worn down and then they had to go like save a life. And so you got to use your med math and you got to use your brain and all of that fun stuff. So if that's something you're interested in, we've got it. Come on over. You can't get on right away, but that's perfect because experience is going to help you in the long run for that team anyways. So that's our medical side. And then for our fire side, we have tons of specialty teams. So we have technical rescue or rope rescue, we'll call it that. We have a hazmat team. We have a water rescue team. And that's what we have.
I like
that. Yeah.
So water rescue, obviously, as per your thing. So river, lake. I'm trying to think. Lethbridge, does it have a river? I should know this. I don't know this. Does it have a river?
Yeah. They actually have a very big river.
Okay.
And tons of people float down it all summer long.
Okay.
So it is a hazard. Our fire rescue team is considerably busy. We have a few lakes as well, and like not lakes that you would think of. They're just little they're more like lagoons, I guess. But people still go in there, and people still swim and drown, unfortunately. And so we need a team to get in there and get the patients for us. So they'll do that, and then they actually will get called out to different locations too. So a couple of years ago, they got called out to, I think it was the Pass, to assist with a water rescue there. So you'll be on the team, and then they get a call out, and then whoever can make it, or the ones that are already on shift, all kind of come in. They attach to their boat and their trailer and everything that they need, and then they head on out and do what they do best.
Yeah. Does that include winter, like ice rescue, like people going out on thin ice? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. And I mean, we are trained to a basic level on that. So if someone breaks through the ice and we need to get them like now, we have the training to do.
Awesome. And then the ropes one, I'm assuming this is like up high rescue, or down low, like into like valleys, or what's that?
Yeah, so it's everything. Honestly, they're trained from the high angle rescue to low angle rescue to confined space. They've got all of that training and can utilize it when needed.
Cool. That's not me. I would not be on that team. Dibs out on the confined space. Dibs out from.
Yeah, legit though. You have to be great in confined spaces, and you have to be great at ropes and knots. Yeah. And that's not everybody's specialty. It's actually kind of a challenge, believe it or not.
Yes. Yeah. I used to work with a lifeguard, and his name's Marie. He's with Edmonton Fire now. And he loves ropes. He loves knots. He used to be the bungee jump guy at West Edmonton Mall, like that would like hook people up and they do bungee jumping. And he would, and lifeguarded with me and lifeguarded there. And he would constantly have a piece of paracord on him, and he would just be tying knots, and he'd be making little, and like just constant. His fingers were always moving on this knot and this rope. And then when he went to fire, I was like, why am I not surprised in any way, shape, or form here, buddy? Super. Man. Yeah, super solid dude though. That's awesome. Well, and I really like, again, because like, and I say this all the time when I talk to people about their different careers and stuff, and they start to like, explain all these different specialized units. It's so awesome to hear that there are these different like subsections within the main career, because you think firefighter, you think big red fire truck, fire hat, hose, in you go, you doing it, right? You don't think confined spaces, roping, you don't think water. Like, again, for me, we had actually Shirley Benson. She was a legendary Edmonton firefighter. She's the first ever female district chief. And she said her favorite things were doing like ice water rescue, like the day they were on the river at minus fucking 30. And I'm like, also dibs out on that. No, thank you. I'm good. Right. But like, you don't think, like, I mean, you do when you see them and you're like, oh yeah, fire's training today, because Edmonton, right? North Saskatchewan. Oh, fire's training, you can see it. But it's not something that immediately comes to mind when you think firefighter. You don't think water, rivers, right? So those specialized things that you can do, this tactical EMS unit, like amazing, just different things. So like, if it is a career that you're thinking about, don't think that you're just going to be on the fire truck or, again, just in the ambulance. You guys really are multifaceted across so many different kind of avenues and things that you'll never get bored. You'll never get, like, oh, well, I just do the same thing every day, right? Like there's so many different opportunities. I just think that's completely rad, like just so cool. And so for you, what's the plan for you? Like, because you said you've been 7 years, right? 7 years you've been there?
So I've been with Lethbridge for 2, but I've been a firefighter for 7, 8 years actually now.
Yeah.
So eventually in Lethbridge, water rescue team, obviously, I think that goes without saying, is one of my main goals. So I want to go there. And then honestly, I want to see our recruitment get a little bit bigger. I want to work on that. I want to try and encourage as many people as I can to come to our service to show how good it is and how good our career is. And then I just want to have a good, long lasting career. And that's possible in Lethbridge because you're doing both. Yes. So yeah, yes. It seems so like meh, but like it's such an incredible thing to be able to say that you can be a firefighter and you can be a paramedic and you can have a long lasting career where you can actually retire from your career at the retirement age. You don't have to get out early because of burnout or anything like that. That's a huge, huge thing everywhere else. And it's kind of neat that you can look at a service and say, okay, that like obviously it happens to some people, it's going to, but to a way lesser extent than some other careers.
Yeah. Well, and even, talking with Molly and Allie about Lethbridge Police, like it's different. You're in a smaller town. You're not in a big city. So if that's something that appeals to you, that you still want to do these careers, but you don't want to be in an Edmonton or a Calgary, and again, just right before your episode interviewing Dee Walker, who was in the process with Calgary Police and realized, I love the outdoors. I love camping. I love like the wilderness. I love rural. Pulled her application and got on with Lakeshore Regional, which is up by Slave Lake. If that's what you're looking for, if that aligns with your life balance and what you like, smaller town, more, again, tighter crews, smaller crews, then Lethbridge is the place. It's there. And even we were talking about cost of living, right? Like to buy a house in Edmonton versus buying a house in Lethbridge, the pay is the same, right? The money is probably very similar to what you're getting paid in Edmonton, and what you're getting paid in Lethbridge may even be more. I know Lethbridge Police makes more than Edmonton Police, right? So you're making more and it's costing less to live down there. Well, that might be a thing that kind of comes into play too for you, or you have a young family. There's, there might be resources or schools or rec facilities or things like that are appealing to you in Lethbridge. So I like that. And I really love that you have goals, because I think that's amazing. I think a lot of people do just get into the career and go like, okay, well, here I am. So I love that you're already looking ahead, like that's going to be something and I want to do that. And the recruiting thing, so we're going to do another episode. We're going to break down the recruiting process because we didn't even get to it today. We didn't even get to it. And there's so much to talk about, but yeah, I think that's something you're called to too. I can see it in you. I can hear it in your voice, just bringing people into this career and having them see like the opportunities, the chances that you'll get, the cool things you'll get to do, the great people. It sounds like it's a great environment. It sounds like you have really good crews that you work with, good leadership, which is a key thing too. And that, I think that's part of burnout, is if you have shitty leadership, if you have shitty management, it doesn't matter how much you love that job, that can be just a grind coming to work every day. So the fact that it sounds like you have great leadership, great management is going to be a huge draw too. So yeah, I hope the recruiting thing kicks off for you. And like I said, we'll do another episode for sure on that process and kind of getting in with Lethbridge Fire and Emergency Services and making sure that people know what they need to go through. Again, the grueling physical, I'd like to break that down because I think it's crazy. Looking at the standards, I was like, holy shit. So I really want to break those down and hear what you thought and hear like how your body held up and things like that, especially knowing, again, you're coming at it at a much elevated level of fitness than the Joe Blows. So I'm assuming if you found it really fucking hard, then lots of people are going to find it really, 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 really fucking hard.
Yeah, exactly. I know a few people already who have they've done it, they weren't successful, and they've realized, oh boy, hey, we're in for it.
Yeah, totally. Okay, well, we're going to wrap up with some rapid fire questions. So for when we are working, which is all the time, if we're not at if we're not at your one fire hall, we're at the other fire hall, if we're not on an ambulance, if we're not in a pool. But what is your favorite food or snack while you are on shift?
Everybody makes fun of me because they know it's clockwork. I am an overnight oats person. So I have my protein and my oats and my peanut butter and my banana, and I mush it all together and I warm it up. It's delicious.
It's vomit. It's vomit. I cannot. You guys, these overnight oats people, I don't know what is wrong with you. It is fucking gross. I have tried every single overnight oats recipe. They all taste like a bag of shit. Look at you.
No, there's
No.
okay.
Ugh.
Also think that it's your protein powder.
No,
Because
the flavor is good. For me, I think it's the texture. I don't like, it's like, I don't like cottage cheese, like that chunky.
yeah, where I'm just like, I love it. But yes, all the guys at work, like, unless like they're a freak like I am, they look at me like, what are you eating? And I'm just the happiest person. Like, I am so happy that I've got my oats, and like sometimes I put egg whites in there, so I'm even happier because you get even more protein. Like,
Oh my
I know
God.
the listeners no longer want to hear from me anymore. That's it. Like, they're like, nope, this girl is like off the rails. Not okay.
They were like, she was good until we got to this point, and now I'm turning it off. I love it. I mean, I will give you props. It's high protein, it's healthy. You can make it anywhere. You can eat it anywhere. Like, I mean, though
Yeah.
it does have some prime qualities. It would not be what I would be choosing, but I do like that you're picking things like this. Oh my
Health
gosh.
match for you. But
That's okay. It's good. It's good. You need to be. You need to be. Okay. What is your favorite piece of equipment that you get to use when you're at work?
oh boy. So I obviously, like, I love fire. So the spraying water, as weird as that sounds, but like, give me that nozzle, give me that hose, and let me get into a hot environment and like spray the fire. Like, I love it. That lights me up. So I guess that would be my favorite piece of equipment. It seems so odd, but
No, I mean, like legit. Like you think of a firefighter, that's what you think of at the end of the hose, like
yeah,
or climbing a ladder. So I would say, yep, like I mean, that's
right.
pretty cool. I would like to try it. Like
Mm.
I've seen like how like actually hard it is, like people getting like blown backwards when when they turn the water on and they're not prepared for it. So like I would like to try it because I think I would probably be pretty shocked at like the force that comes out of it. But I think it would be pretty fucking cool to like get that amount of water and just like
Oh, it's so fun. It's
yeah.
so fun. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, like our job as a whole is fun anyways, so like, can't make it much more fun. But yeah, I don't know, that's my favorite part. I think a lot of people love like the jaws, love to
Yes.
like the vehicles and all that. I do love that too, but yeah, I'm very big on I'm the
Spray.
hose person.
Just spray in the hose. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah. Okay. I was going to ask you like a piece of advice for somebody looking to get into curb, but you've given so many like just in our conversation. So I'm going to skip that one. Maybe I'll save it for when we come back and we talk again. But what's like a story that sticks out in your mind from like your time in, all the things you've done, so from volunteer firefighting to your paramedic work to your fire, like what is something maybe even out of training, what story kind of sticks out for you kind of during that time?
Oh, that's a good question. Um, it's like, so it's not really a story, I guess, but it's just a point in my career where it was very exciting. And so I, like I said, I had to do the physical twice. It wasn't because I failed, it was because I didn't make it through the process the first time with
Mm-hmm.
Lethbridge. And so I ended up with a different service for a little bit. And then I finally got on with Lethbridge. So we finished our recruit training and then we had our grad. And I think that point like sticks with me because it was the point where I realized like I did it. Like, I had to take a couple left turns. I had to go through a few years of not being in my ideal service and
Mm-hmm.
and being away from home and everything before I got to this point. But I think once I was up there and they, congratulations, recruit class, all that fun stuff, I got to like sit there and be like, holy smokes, I'm actually here. I'm at my dream department. I'm doing my dream job. Like, this can't be real life. Like, how is it? And so I think that thought and that feeling, I will always revert back to when there's a hard time, when things are a little bit rough, maybe at work, maybe outside of work, maybe I'm just not excelling in the pool as much. I get to go back and remember that feeling, and it changes your entire day, and it changes your outlook, and it changes how you feel about yourself. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's not exactly a story, but that's where I go. That's my favorite thing.
That's, you know what? And I love that. I love that, because oftentimes as we get through the career, we do forget that. You know, you get into that rut, you get into, and I've talked about it in other episodes, right? The ebb and flow of a first responder career. This is the greatest fucking thing I've ever done. Oh my God, I love this job. I fucking hate this job. This is the worst thing ever. I'm so sick and tired of blah, blah, blah. Oh, I really love this job again. I have a really great partner. I fucking hate this job, right? Like, that's what we do. It's just, it is the nature of the beast. And so oftentimes we can get into that valley and we can't get ourselves back out. And all we see is the negative of what we do. Again, I think, you know, maybe more leaning towards law enforcement for that, where you're dealing with shitty people. You're constantly, you have your frequent flyers, you're constantly, like, and you never see the good in people or the good in the work that you're doing. Whereas I feel like fire paramedics, you have a different kind of like impression on that. Like, you guys, you know, you save somebody, you bring them back, right? Yes, you've got your frequent flyers and things like that, but you're not necessarily always seeing the shit. And so I feel like it's probably easier for you guys to come out of that. But for law enforcement, like, don't ever forget that feeling of how hard you worked. And when you know, went to grad and you marched and you did your drill and, you know, you got that certificate or you got that badge or you got like, yeah, be proud of yourself, because it's a fucking journey. Like, and it's not easy. It is not an easy journey. If you think, and again, this is another thing that we like kind of talked about. If you think getting into these careers is easy, fucking give your head a shake, because it ain't. It's really fucking hard, and they only take the best people. And so if you're contemplating it, know that you're going to need to be at the top of your game, and you're going to need to work for it, and you're going to need to not give up, and you're going to need to be mentally tough and resilient, and you're going to need to be physically tough and resilient. But then when you get there, yeah, revel in that, take pride in all that stuff that you did, and you know, keep that as a core memory, right? Of exactly how you feel, because it is amazing when you get there. And yeah, I definitely, I'm the same way. When I walk into Blue Line, sometimes I like stop and look around and I'm like, holy fuck, like, this is my building. Like, oh my God, like, I own this place. Like, this is my, what? Like, who would have thought me, like this little old me, would have this? And then so you take that moment of looking around and being like, I fucking did it. Oh my God, this is crazy. Like, and so when the days get tough and you're like, this is really hard and I'm grinding it out and it never seems to get easier, you got to go back to that. Like, but I did it. And there's that pride and there's that accomplishment. So yeah, I love it. I think that's a great story. I agree. An absolutely great story. Well, it has been a treat today. Like I said, I've laughed with you. I've learned like a frickin' ton. It's awesome. So thank you for that. Again, we will set up another time. I'm going to have you back on for sure, because we've got to break down some more stuff. But any last words for our listeners?
Just honestly, decide what you want to do and just go for it. Like, you can do whatever you want. So just do it. Just do the thing and take the steps to do the thing, and reach out if you need anything, because I'm always here to help.
Queen, absolute queen. I love it. And we will be putting all the information in the show notes, guys. We will put in the link to the website for you, Alberta, so you can take a look at the stuff. I'll be throwing Dallas's information up there. You can get a hold of her. You can get a hold of us if you have questions. We'll definitely be able to help you out with any of that stuff. But yeah, it's been a slice. Thank you so much. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day.
Yes, thank you. It was a pleasure being on here, and I can't wait to be back.
Yes, excellent. Well, that's it for today, folks. Thanks so much for tuning in, listening, giving me your time, your energy, and your attention. I completely appreciate it. Make sure you check out our next episode with another badass female first responder anywhere you get your favorite podcasts. And follow us on Instagram and Facebook at bluelinefitnesstesting.com. I hope you stay safe, keep your head on a swivel, and watch your six.